While most students leave school with knowledge of basic arithmetic, literature, and plenty of other subjects, today's education seems to be missing a few key points that will actually help students deal with real-life issues and struggles. Here are 10 things schools should teach but don't. Self-defense. When people think of self-defense, they probably imagine people breaking bricks with their bare fists, but the truth is a little less theatrical. Basic self-defense can teach students how to protect themselves in potentially dangerous situations. It can be teaching them to prevent bullying, identifying dangers, reacting in an emergency, how to get away, and where to seek help. It's not always about throwing a punch, simply how to remove themselves from the situation and get help. Cooking. When we live at home, we don't always think about being able to prepare our own meals. But what about once we're out on our own, living in our own apartments or houses? Learning how to cook a variety of meals for oneself is better for our health and wallets than eating out or ordering in. Learning to prepare basic meals can also build confidence in students as they are able to become more self-sufficient. Job searching. When it comes to getting a job, most students only know that they need a job in order to have money. What they may not know is how to prepare a resume or cover letter, how to actually apply, how to dress appropriately for an interview, what is expected during the interview process, and negotiating employment contracts. Programs should be available to students to explain all of this, prepare them with mock interviews, and help guide them through the do's and don'ts of job searching. Car maintenance and repair. While it's not necessary to learn how to fully maintain a car on our own, there are some basic skills that are beneficial to know. As more students and young people get onto the roads, it's important to learn things like changing a tire, checking oil levels and tire pressure, and even patching a tire. This knowledge can save hundreds in towing costs and mechanic fees, as well as allowing students the confidence that they do not always require aid when these situations arise. Sex ed. There are many that find the subject of sex inappropriate to bring up in front of students, but it's also this way of thinking that may leave them unprepared when the time comes. Without the knowledge of proper boundaries, safety, and consequences, it could negatively impact a student for life. Sex education doesn't just mean briefly explaining positions or putting a condom on a banana, but rather the knowledge of our working parts, the emotional aspects of sex, and consent, the meaning of no, when it needs to be used, and why it needs to be respected. Home economics. Home economics courses were once mandatory in schools but have dwindled drastically in recent years. Sewing on buttons, hemming and patching pants, fixing dripping faucets, unclogging a toilet, and changing fuses are all incredibly useful skills to have, but are more often passed off to professionals who charge exorbitant fees. While there are certainly some instances where it's better to call for assistance, there are an amazing amount of little issues that we could handle ourselves if we receive the basic training in school. First aid. Basic skills like bandaging a wound, performing CPR or the Heimlich maneuver, identifying an allergic reaction, and using defibrillators can save a person's life. Accidents can happen anytime, anywhere, and having basic knowledge of first aid can sometimes mean the difference between life and death. Knowing how to identify things like concussion, dehydration, and stroke are also useful skills to possess, as one never knows when they could be needed. Time management. In daily life, we all have deadlines and places we need to be at specific times. Most often, we're left running around trying to figure out how to balance everything while ensuring we haven't forgotten other things. Teaching time management can teach students how to handle their time appropriately and figure out which tasks need to be handled in which order. Learning when to set an alert or how long it may take to get to a certain destination are necessary life skills not often taught in class, as students struggle to figure it out without burning themselves out. Communication. While basic communication comes naturally, different aspects can be difficult to grasp when we're younger and inexperienced. Teaching youngsters how to converse with future bosses, neighbors, friends, and even family can potentially clear up a lot of anxiety in regards to speaking with others. Many of the younger generation's primary form of communication is via text and social media, so there isn't nearly as much face-to-face social and professional interaction. Learning to connect, when to speak and when to listen, being empathic, these are all things that are more easily understood if taught from a younger age. Personal finance. While youths may understand the basic concept of money and personal finance, it is sometimes difficult to truly understand the value of that currency. Beyond the basic exchange of money for goods, things like applying for a credit card, paying taxes and bills, mortgaging a home, savings, budgeting, investing, and how to avoid debt are rarely brought up in the classroom. These skills affect everyday life and have a huge impact on a student's future. Some schools may have economic courses available, but they don't go into the depths of personal finance as much as they do for world finance. Which of these topics would you find interesting to learn in schools? Did we miss any? Share your thoughts with us down in the comments, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Riches for more amazing videos daily. Thanks for watching!